All right. What's up, everybody? Susie Baker. Susie Baker is the first commenter of the day. What's up, Susie Baker? Susie Baker asks, how's it going in the jungle? We don't live in the jungle. Just because we live in Ecuador doesn't, there's about 20,000 microclimates in Ecuador. We live in the Andes. Very moderate climate here. If I couldn't handle the jungle. Too hot, too humid. And here you can, I mean, you see most of my videos. I don't wear a shirt that often. It's just beautiful weather year round. It's like 70 degrees most of the time. Right now, it's a little bit cooler. I've been in thin shorts all day, so. All right, let's see. Clary Dent in New Zealand. What's up? Brian Street. Brian Street's always hanging out. Brian Street. Susie Baker. Gina Jones. Roger Harriddle. Wolf Spider. Matthew Wesley, Scooby, Angelina, Cat D, John Smith. Yeah, it's funny with our audience. It seems like a lot of these people have real-ish names on as their avatar. You don't see a lot of like, I don't know, Miley Cyrus fans, 666, or like, I don't know, Smash the Patriarchy 22, Vegan Princess, Vegan American Princess 49. We get like real people. DeWitt Sagastoon, what's up? Then there's Mutant Stoner, and then John Titor. John Titor, the time traveler from coast to coast. He's asking about the difference between reishi spore oil and the triterpene extract that we had. Are those even on our website right now, Jessica?
I don't know.
John, I'm not going to get into those right now. We don't even have those in stock on our website, and yeah, so I'm not going to spend time on that one. But thanks for the question, my friend. Both of them are fantastic. Actually, there's descriptions on the product page if they're even up on the website right now, but I'm not sure if they're in stock, so I don't want to talk about it. John Smith, what's up, man? Is there a difference between being in ketosis and being keto adapted? That's a great question. That's a great question. All right, we'll get into that in a second. Let me just say a few more what's ups. Miguel Mueller, what's up, man? Matthew, Angelina, Kat, John, Z. Witcher Elf, what's up? Fit like Frenchie. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Fabian is in Switzerland. All right, so the difference between being in ketosis and being keto adapted. Ketosis, technically, is just anything above 0.5 millimolars per deciliter of beta-hydroxybutyrate level as measured in your blood. That's considered ketosis. Ketosis is the presence of ketones. The presence of ketones in a certain amount, right? So a ketogenic diet is a diet that allows you to have ketones present most of the time. or a lot of the time. Being keto adapted is having the mitochondria, the metabolic machinery that allows you to actually process and efficiently use ketones as a fuel source long term, as your primary fuel source, rather than using glucose. So keto adapted is a term that's loosely defined in a lot of circles. But when you look at kind of the scientific literature and the stuff from Volek and Finney, it takes several weeks for the body to adapt to using ketones effectively. The more J. Patrick Campbell, what's up, dude? It takes time to adapt. Being keto adapted means that you've developed those mitochondria, you've actually switched your metabolism over and developed a nice little metabolic groove in which you can burn ketones. So it takes weeks to keto adapt. It can take days to get into ketosis. I mean, you can get into ketosis in like one day if you just do a straight up fast, like a water fast or even a dry fast, get you there even faster. I'm not saying that that's desirable. I'm not saying that ketosis is always desirable for all people. In some instances, ketosis will be very desirable. All right, no flat earth arguments here. Come on. J. Patrick Campbell, thanks for the suggestion. If people want to look into it, if people want to do their research, great, right on. But we're not gonna, don't argue, no debates. All right, you've planted your seeds for people. You think we should be interested in this, cool, but no debates, guys. Nobody attack him, and nobody. This is not that channel. We're talking about diet, health, dialing in lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, how to survive and thrive. All right. Okay. So ketosis, you can get into in a relatively short amount of time. Shoot, you could even take a bunch of MCT and push your ketones up. You could take those artificial ketones, the ketone powders. You won't believe how quickly I can get you into ketosis. Nonsense MLM marketed stuff. You could take those and get into ketosis instantly. But just because you're in ketosis doesn't mean that you're like adapted to using those ketones, or that you can go long periods of time without carbohydrate input and feel good and generate energy through the body. So get into ketosis quickly, take some time, get keto adapted, and enjoy the benefits of long-term ketosis, right? Because anybody can fast into ketosis. The ketogenic diet is a way to actually maintain it long-term, whereas fasting is not really a long-term sustainable habit. You can't just fast all the time. How do you know you're adapted? Says Mike C. Great question. Now, a lot of people like to throw these terms around. Keto adapted. Well, you might be on keto, but you're not keto adapted. And you don't know you're keto adapted unless you do this, 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 and this. And then you still don't know you're keto adapted because I might say this, this, and this to confuse you. There's all kinds of jargon out there, all kinds of confusion. How do you know you're keto adapted? You know you're keto adapted when you go long periods of time without food. You got stable blood sugar all day long. Not meaning you have to be constantly tapping your veins like a diabetic and checking your blood glucose after every single meal, after everything you do. But you'll be able to tell because you can go long periods of time without food. Your hunger levels are low. You feel satiated and energized throughout the day. It's not like crazy energy, but you have energy throughout the day. You don't get that like midday crash. 12 o'clock comes around. You might be a little bit hungry because you normally eat at that time, but it's not like you get, crazy hungry and you're about to crash and fall over. All right. Das Winky, sorry it's late, man. Dustin Mitchell, what's up? Click put, what's up? Zorbst. So Tristan, I took your advice and cut down the fat a bit for my diet, and now I've dropped 4 pounds of body fat. You dropped 4 pounds of body fat, and you're blaming it on me. Blaming me for your 4 pounds lost. Hey, congratulations. You came here, you asked the right question at the right time, and you received the right answer that just happened to travel on through me and over to you. So that's awesome. You dropped 4 pounds just from, probably doing what intuitively you knew you should have been doing in the first place, right? Because a lot of nonsense is out there. A lot of people trying to confuse us. What does it even mean to be keto adapted? Well, you might be doing keto, but you're not doing it right. All this nonsense. Got to eat more fat, more fat, less protein. There's so many different opinions out there. And of course, everybody is the ultimate word of reason and science and truth. But I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm just here to present information as I see it. I think you should question everything and research everything for yourself, including the things that I say, right? But on a ketogenic diet, eat more fat, lose more weight. While it can be true in certain circumstances that when people do eat keto, they eat some fat, they eat a significant amount of fat, their hunger level drops, they're not hungry anymore, and they lose weight without having to track anything, without having to do much other than try to eat fat. Then they're so satiated that they don't want more. Now, that might work for a while, but it doesn't work for everybody like that, and it definitely doesn't work long-term like that if you're trying to get really lean or fit or healthy in general. Right? We can't just think that eating more fat is going to make us burn more body fat. It's not, it's faulty logic. Yeah, eating more fat will make you burn more dietary fat, of course, because you're eating that fat. But if we want to burn body fat, if we've had a constant state of overnutrition without tapping into that body fat for extended periods of time, if we want to burn body fat, we can't be just eating as much dietary fat as we can, as we need to. J. Patrick Campbell. Oh, man. J. Patrick Campbell, your check's in the mail. J. Patrick Campbell says the Ketogenic Edge cookbook is amazing. And Ariana, or Ryder, is downstairs, and he says, right, Ryder? Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, J. Patrick Campbell. I agree. The Ketogenic Edge cookbook is amazing. And thank you for reminding me that book is available exclusively at our website, primaledgehealth.com. You're not going to find it on Amazon. You're not going to find it anywhere else. You're only going to find it on our website. And for other content creators out there, other people who've got ebooks, you got a YouTube channel and you have online publication stuff, or if you have print books, you do print on demand, please don't cheapen it. Please don't cheapen yourself. Please don't sell out the future market of free ideas, free thought. And, you know, let's not burn it in the fire of the Kindle over on Amazon.com, guys. Let's not burn all our books in the Kindle fire. Yeah, Amazon's a really great way for people to reach a bigger audience, and everyone shops on Amazon now, and your sales will go up, this and that. But, you know, kind of shooting ourselves in the foot by consolidating so much of this economic energy in the hands of this one corporation. Please, there's other fulfillment centers out there. There's other people out there, small companies, mom and pop companies who've been doing print publishing for years, who could print your book for you, fulfill your orders, and ship it. You don't need Amazon to survive. You don't need to be doing Amazon affiliate links all the time. There's other ways to generate income. If you've got good information, you can connect with your audience. If you're a genuine individual with something genuine to offer, then your audience likes you and will connect with you, and you could sell your stuff through your website or through other fulfillment companies other than Amazon, guys. Come on, let's get beyond it. Brian Street says, mad at Tristan because he tells me I can't eat as much fat as I want and still lose weight. But that's why I love him too. Man, look, I wish I could say that with a straight face. Like, eat as much fat as you want, you'll still lose weight. Nah, sorry. Walter, what's up, man? Walter, oh, I read your first, yeah, dude. All right, Walter says, hey, Tristan, I came to the realization that I'm going to stop lifting heavy. I love lifting heavy, powerlifting style, but I don't love my back muscles being pulled. I don't know what you mean by pulled. Advice on hypertrophy workouts. All right, heavy lifting, the big three, squat, bench press, deadlift. I used to do them copiously. Now I don't do them much at all. In fact, I haven't deadlifted in like a year and maybe 2 years. I'm squatted in like a year and a half, 2 years too. Why? Not because they're bad for everybody, not because these movements are not beneficial to some people and they can't be performed safely and correctly, but because my physiology, the way my body is stacked on top of itself, the way that my flesh is arranged around my bones, makes it such that deadlift and squat and bench pressing just doesn't help my physiology and how I feel throughout the day. Like, you know, building lean muscle mass, great idea, improves your metabolism, increases metabolism. You want to have lean, strong bodies, of course, but we don't have to do it just through heavy lifting, deadlifting, squatting, benching. And, you know, for some of us, that is not the best way to go. So, I mean, you're going to want to study on some kettlebell movements, my friend. You know, kettlebell movements, stuff that you're engaging your entire posterior chain from your head to your toe in, so that you're having to balance using different tension lines throughout the fascia system of the body, bouncing, staying light. I mean, to me, that's much more important. And then training hypertrophy movements where it's training inefficiency in the bench press, tense movements, while it feels real good and you get a new PR and stuff, you build up your bench press and you get jacked doing it, whatever. I don't know, just the way that it trains my physiology and my central nervous system, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I'm reaching up to pick up something across the way, my neurological system, it's like you can wire it in a way to where you're moving lightly and nimbly and easily and slightly agility, or you can train your body excessively in hypertrophy movements, and you could be neurologically wired to be constantly like you're squeezing muscles when you don't need to. I don't know, just for me, for my posture, for my general health, I found that moving in ways beyond the big three, the powerlifting movements, is real beneficial. So, Walter, thanks for being honest with yourself, man. Or not thanks, but congratulations on being honest with yourself. I came to a similar conclusion after years of doing heavy lifting, that it's not for everyone in every case. I'm not saying that everybody who lost 4 pounds from just dropping his fat back a little bit says it just fell off his belly. That's awesome, man. Royal Perez, San Antonio. What's up, man? Who else here? We got people in Australia. Frogs 2017. How can you tell if you are? Do you need a blood test? Seems like all other methods are not really that accurate. That means how to tell if you're keto adapted. There's no real test to tell if you're keto adapted. You're either in ketosis or you're out of ketosis. Keto adapted takes time in ketosis. So put some time in ketosis. You're keto adapted when you feel pretty good, when your electrolytes are balanced, of course. You got to make sure you get enough sodium, magnesium, potassium in. But when you're adapted to burning those ketones, you're adapted to generating energy throughout the body and going long periods of time using ketones as your primary fuel, then you're keto adapted. There's no magic blood test or anything like that to tell you if you're adapted or not. But there's lots of gurus out there who will confuse you about what it means and the ins and outs of it to try and harvest money from you. But keto adaptation is just time under tension, as the repetition. All right, Donna says, what do you think about coffee? Yay or nay? Do you think it's bad for adrenals? People have said it can raise cortisol, so jacking up insulin. All right, no, coffee is not going to raise insulin levels. All right, these are miscommunications, and sometimes it almost seems like intentionally dumbed down hyperboles that people are saying. Donna, coffee, yay or nay? It's about context, right? So if you're obsessed with coffee, if you need it to get out of bed, if you need caffeine to move, then obviously something's out of balance, right? If you need anything, coffee can be an issue. Some people can get addicted to it. They can become dependent on it, and it might be plugging up energy leaks that are happening elsewhere. You should be able to get out of bed, move your body, feel good throughout the day without needing a bunch of caffeine. But every once in a while, I like to have coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I haven't had it for maybe a couple weeks. But a couple weeks ago, I had coffee like 3 or 4 days in a row. I was working on something with somebody who drank coffee, and he made me some coffee. I had coffee with cream every day for a week. Great. Enjoyable. Don't need it, though. So I think that can be a problem for some people. Is it bad for adrenals across the board? It depends, right? I mean, if you're fasting 18 hours, not sleeping enough, drinking coffee to stay up all night, just taxing your body, then yeah, that's not good. But it's not like it's just the coffee. It's like you're stressing out all the time. You're a student doing a thesis, staying up late at night. Maybe you're drinking too much, drinking coffee all the time. Just burning the candle at both ends. Yeah, you have elevated cortisol. Your circadian rhythm is going to be all off. You're not going to be making melatonin at night when you need to. You're not going to be sleeping as deeply as we should. And that can become a problem. But in general, coffee's not bad. And in general, coffee's not like this miracle thing that everyone needs to drink either. It's a tool that can be used in context. It can be great, or it can be awful for some people, right? Just like anything. Like any, plants, any powerful plant medicine. Coffee it's a plant. It's a little herbaceous shrub that grows all around the Andes here, and little red beans. You could pick it right off the tree. You could suck the juice off of it and eat the outside fruit, and then they take that inside fruit and they ferment these beans and they let it sit out in the sun, dry out. And they're not fermented, that's cacao. But you dry the beans out and you make coffee with it. It's an herb, it's a plant. So it's like any plant can be abused, right? I mean, same with tobacco, right? Very, very powerful. Nicotine in and of itself, very powerful. Monoamine oxidase inhibitor. It's a powerful MAOI. It can regulate appetite, suppress appetite in people, have effects on your NAD, NADH. It has many powerful effects, including effects on mitochondria. Nicotine in and of itself, it's not bad. The plant Nicotiana rustica, tobacco, been around for thousands of years, used as a healing agent in the cultures of the jungles of South America and Central America, and used in North America as well, in the Plains Indians, different strains up there. It's not bad, but when you isolate it, when you mass produce it, spray with all kinds of toxic carcinogens and chemicals, and use it, ingest it in a way where it's an unhealthy habit. It was like most people smoking cigarettes. Yeah, they're awful. They're loaded with toxic carcinogens and additives. Most of the toxic carcinogens are added in there afterwards. What's going on there? Isn't bad, right? There's actually a lot of people in the biohacker world, right? Biohacking. Biohacker. I'm hacking into my biology. I am a computer. I will hack myself. The biohacking world, a lot of these people are into it now too. The nicotine, I mean, it's and it's just like coffee. These are plants. They can be used for good. They can be destructive. You can overuse it. You can use it incorrectly. You give a 14-year-old depressed kid a bunch of pot and a television. He'll smoke himself into a stupor and be depressed for the rest of his life, and maybe keep those habits. Give that same weed to some other kid who's dialed into life in a different way, slightly creative. That person might get really stoked on life when they use it. There's different ways you can use these plants and stuff, and it's not always good or bad for all people. Donna Kempson, thank you for the great question. Cat D says, are 12 grams carbs more than my macros? Should I eat a tad more fat to keep me in ketosis? Wait, if I ate 12 grams carbs more than my macros, should I eat more fat to keep me in ketosis? No. Eat more fat is not the answer to almost anything. So just like right there, it's like any question that you have that you think maybe eat more fat is the answer, probably not the answer. Right. All right. So maybe in certain cases of like people extremely calorie restricting, actually there's I can think of a bunch of cases. Of course, I have to contradict myself instantly. Say something that I think of something that will contradict it instantly. Yeah, I mean, some women who've been fasting long periods of time, stressing their body out, competition dieting, doing the sanctioned eating disorder pageants. Fitness competitions. People doing these, like eating more fat to recover your hormone production, to recover your health and sanity could be a good idea. But eating more carbs, it's not going to be balanced out by eating more fats. That'd be so cool, right? Because then it's like donuts would be pretty good for us because they're high in carbs, but they got a lot of fat as well. So Krispy Kreme and ice cream, Haagen-Dazs would be good. I wish. If only all that Ben and Jerry's I used to eat was good for me. Mutant Stoner says, I love lifting. I realized a few weeks ago that my core is worthless at the moment. Ab training needed. Well, training abs is an interesting thing. Training abs. It's like you have the whole... there's no such thing as training abs. You train stability. For the whole body, and that trains the midsection, that trains the core. But I agree with you, man. The heavy lifting and stuff. Oh yeah, well, deadlifting, squatting, it's great for your core. Sure, you lock in your core and you can. But I 90% of people who are lifting heavy aren't using their diaphragm correctly, don't have straight hips. Our bodies are not. I mean, this is why I don't do it anymore. My feet don't line up with my hips, don't line up with my shoulders, which doesn't line up quite with my head. And if I don't keep my posture in line, then I can push it way more, further out of alignment and further into unhealth rather, and dis-ease and discomfort through heavy lifting too much. All right. That's why, you could still lift, but I got to go so heavy. I'm not doing the squatting and the bench, the squatting, benching, deadlifting. Not doing it anymore. I like the movements. They can be fun, but really as far as just training my body to be a human body and to feel good throughout the day, doesn't do it for me. And I'm a dork now. Am I a functional training dork? I don't care. I mean, it's always been about feeling good for me. It's always been about what actually works, not what's trendy or what's cool. I don't care about all that. It's like what actually works. All right. Let's see what's going on. Scooby, what's up? Scooby95219 says, I do keto, but now I'm trying to grow muscle. One fat loss goal was to keep insulin low, but I know that muscle growth requires some insulin to feed muscle. What's the trick to do both at the same time? All right, you can grow muscle in sufficient quantity in keto, especially if you're well adapted to it. There's not just insulin. Insulin is not just the anabolic growth. It's not the only anabolic growth factor. You've also got human growth hormone that gets elevated throughout fasting to maintain lean muscle mass. You've got all kinds of hormonal processes, and ketones in and of themselves maintain lean muscle mass. They help you to not burn off lean muscle. So you can build muscle in keto as long as you're getting enough calories. So you got to be at a surplus. You've been losing body fat for a while. You've been in a calorie deficit. Now, if you're going to try to gain muscle, you're going to have to eat sufficient protein. You might want to jump that protein up a few grams, about 0.8 grams per pound of your goal lean body mass. In that case, would be ideal. Fat is your energy source, of course. So you were creating a deficit with the fat before. We talked about earlier, the individual who was told, I got to eat more fat, but then realized, oh yeah, that's backwards. Actually, I'm doing this diet because it makes me less hungry and allows me to eat less fat, therefore eat more body fat. So if you want to eat more body fat, we've got to eat a little less fat on the plate. But trying to gain lean muscle mass, trying to be weight stable, trying to gain weight, then you need to eat more food, right? Still, the laws of physics apply, So yeah, you're going to increase the fat intake to create that caloric surplus. So if you want to do that, first of all, you're going to have to find foods that you like, that are palatable, that you can eat on your diet. You don't need to go on a huge surplus, by the way. Maybe 20% is pretty big surplus. You don't need to go more than 10 to 20% surplus calorically. And yeah, you're going to want to be able to prepare foods that you enjoy, that you can eat regularly. If you're trying to gain weight, you don't want to be fasting for long periods of time. You actually want to be eating at least 2 to 3 meals a day with good amounts of protein. And fat's your energy source if you're doing it on keto. Now, if you want to go the other route and add more carbohydrates in order to gain body mass, which carbohydrates very anabolic, but not the only way to gain muscle mass. But if you are eating more carbs, of course, if you continue eating high fat, you're going to have a clash there. So you're going to want to balance out that little energy balance equation with, while you're increasing your carbohydrates, fat's about twice as calorie dense per gram. So every 2 grams of carbs, you're going to increase or decrease your fats by about 1 gram to be about stable calorically. Susie Baker says, does adding weight, not powerlifting, help with weight loss or tightening of the skin? I have a large amount to lose and really don't want to look like a Shar-Pei puppy when I get to the other end. Susie Baker, that's a good question. All right, Susie Baker. Lifting weights isn't necessarily going to help with the loose skin issue that some people run into after a lot of fat loss. But you're trying to lose body fat. Why are you worried about down the line, like having loose skin? How about we be concerned with building the habits and the lifestyle that'll allow you to lose that body fat and feel good in your body. And then when you get there, you can deal with it. Because by the time you get there, you should be a completely different person, not only physically, but also emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually as well. I mean, if you're losing as much weight as it takes to have loose skin, that means you're taking back your life. That means there was a period of time in your life where you were not fully in control. You've admitted that to yourself. You decided to take it back, to actually take back your habits and treat yourself well. And it's not just what you eat. It's not just the food you put in your mouth. It's like, why did we have these habits that made us unhealthy? Why did we have these habits that made us engage in self-destructive behaviors over and over again? Getting to the core and the root of those issues is what we're really dealing with long-term fat loss. And the body changing, the form changing is kind of the side effect of the internal structure of our reality changing, right? I mean, something had to crystallize inside of you and allow you to actually stand up and solidify in that decision of this can't continue. I have to take this body back, and that's your God-given right. I mean, just to live in that body and to decide what you put into it, what comes out of it, and what comes into it through here, and what vibrates around it, what we allow to happen around us is really important. So you're going to be a totally different person by the time that loose skin even becomes a possible issue to deal with. And you just got to have faith that you're going to be connected and strong enough to actually take care of it in the right way when you need to deal with it. Right? It's like, don't worry about what's further down the line. Don't worry about, oh, well, where am I going to shop for clothes when I lose 20 pounds? Or where am I going to, we're always, a lot of the times our mind will get us looking for excuses not to do something before we even do it, and looking for problems that are, hey, having that loose skin, that's a good problem to look forward to. So congratulations on being on your way to finally having that issue. But like I said, by the time you get there, you're going to be a totally different person. Greg, what's up, man? Greg Luniewski. How's it going, man? Greg says, I feel I'm fat adapted because I don't get hungry often throughout the day, but I doubt I'm in ketosis because I do extra carbs like sweet potato for hockey to fuel quick burst energy. Well, it depends on when you're using those carbs and what you're doing around the intake of those carbs. That will affect how quickly they get cleared from your body. So yeah. Modest Blueberry says, I have lied to myself thinking adding fat to coffee was going to make me healthier. I thought it was. Well, it only makes you healthier if you buy the 3 times the normal cost of coffee that doesn't have mycotoxins. Right? Because everyone else has mycotoxins, supposedly. Actually, they don't. Everybody steam sterilizes coffee. And why isn't your coffee even organic if it's so freaking good? If you're all about quality, if you're all about helping people out, why aren't you selling organic, Holmes? Catherine says, just bought the book. Love the spice blends. Amazing. You hear that, Jessica? That's not a lot of people. We've had several comments about that before, but that might be the first one specifically about blending spices and how to, yeah. Jessica spent a lot of time on this book, guys. We call it a training manual. Are you going to bed, Ryder? Want to come say bye? Whoa, he said it. Hey. The lovely Jessica and the infamous Ryder. Hey. What are you doing? What are you doing, you little goofy guy? Okay. Are you sleepy? You're super sleepy. What else is new? All right. So yeah, the spice blends. The spice blends are great. We call it a training manual because, as you found out, Catherine Holm, it is a training manual. It's not just a list of recipes. I actually want to be able to help you guys to be self-sustained in making your own keto foods in your own keto kitchen. So yeah, Jessica, as a mother of 2 little dragon babies, spent a lot of time on this cookbook, a lot of energy and a lot of effort, making it a legit training manual. We wanted to make the book that, hey, Ariana wants to say hi. We wanted to make it the book. Hi. Who is that? Who are you saying hi to? I don't even know. I don't know either. Hopefully some nice people, right? No, I'm just kidding. I know that we have a really highly clued in audience. And I want to say I really appreciate all you guys. It's interesting the amount of real names that are even popping up in there, and the caliber of conversation. It's different than other stuff you see online. And I appreciate our audience. Nobody comes on here and tries to bait into arguments with other people and YouTubers. That stopped a while ago. We got a highbrow, highly intelligent, questioning audience. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Greg Luniewski says, I love coffee and espresso. Yeah, I like espressos. Espressos are great. Anyways, talking about Catherine Holmes' comment on the spice blends. We've got to actually practice these things. Creating nutrient-dense whole foods is kind of an art. And it's a skill that develops over time. So we made this book as a training manual to help people who may have never even cooked before, or people who have made plenty of food in the past, but want to learn how to kickstart keto cooking and actually understand how to cook keto style. So yeah, you can find the training manual for low carbohydrate, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine exclusively at primaledgehealth.com. Habby says, thoughts on Baroka vitamin supplement. I don't know what that is. It does contain aspartame. All right. My thoughts? It'd be great. I wouldn't compost it or give it to my chickens even. Uh, oops. I mean, I'm not a big fan of aspartame, just from what I've seen. Better safe than sorry with aspartame. Lots of faulty, flawed science on it. Lots of money involved. Donald Rumsfeld, all that stuff. Not so interested in the aspartame. So I don't know. Vitamin supplement. Why you need it? Why you think you need it? Morningstar 8459 says, is there a green powder that can be purchased? I'm having trouble finding some of the greens in my area. Yeah, of course there's green powder that can be purchased. Well, you can make your own too. I mean, if you check out the Ketogenic Edge cookbook, training manual for low carbohydrate, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine, here's another plug for it. There's a green powder recipe in there. I mean, you can make it out of greens from your own garden. You can go to the farmer's market, get a bunch of greens, whatever's seasonally available. Use beet greens and stuff like that. Dry them, powder them. You got your own homemade green powder right there. Donna Kempson, thanks for the nice questions. Greg, what's up, man? All right, let's see. What else is going on here? Whoa, everybody. Okay. Let's see. Matthew Wasley says, sanctioned eating disorder competition, LMAO, I just spit tea on my iPad. That's what they are, right? Sanctioned eating disorder competitions. I mean, it's really sad to see the female ones, right? Like the bikini competitions and stuff. Like, that's really sad to me. I mean, it's like beauty competitions too, like the beauty pageants for kids. It's like the fact like that adults feel like this is a good idea, or I don't know. To me, it's real sad. There's a lot of different people that do it. It's not all just people doing it out of insecurity or like this false sense of, it's not all that, obviously. But like in general, it's super weird, man, especially the female ones. These women are starving themselves into oblivion. I can't tell you how many former bikini competitor clients I've had to help, like after, just to recover their lives from the nonsense that they put themselves through, telling themselves that it's awesome or it's healthy, or like hashtag dedicated on Instagram, hashtag look at me now, daddy, right? Like, come on. I mean, it's the men's, like that's even weirder to me. But I don't feel, it's like not as sad to me. It's more just pathetic. Like men, like greased up, like on a stage, like with a fake smile, and like the flex, like Ken dolls. So strange, so dehumanizing, right? Whatever. All right. Sanctioned eating disorder competitions. It's been said. Hang me for it. Or I'm a judgmental jerk, or I'm fit shaming, or you're this or that. Whatever. It is what it is. P-Trick says, lifted heavy for a long time until I did 1 too many deadlifts and nudged my back out of alignment. Now I'm doing more bodybuilding and kettlebells, and I feel great. Yeah, it's like even like basic bodybuilding style movements, like way easier on the body. I mean, there's a reason why you don't see a lot of these, like, not all these bodybuilders are lifting heavy. A few of them are, but look at them. I mean, look how often they're getting injured. Look at Ronnie Coleman now. Ronnie Coleman, look how many surgeries he's had. Like, just come on. Like, let's take a look at the elders and what they've dealt with. Look at how what's his face? Dorian Yates trains now, right? Dorian Yates is all about yoga and shit now. Is it because he's like some hippie dork? No, he just realized, like, this is not this is not healthy. But it's all about balance, right? I mean, it's like, hey, for some people, going hitting up the gym 3 times a week, you get an insulated life. You don't really get to move around that much at work, having a sedentary job. Most people nowadays work at desks and office. So, it's about context. But yeah, bodybuilding style movements, probably a little safer on the old joints and the posterior chain there. But yeah, I mean, just effective, efficient movement patterns, which are really hard sometimes. They're really important. And I think kettlebells are a great way to train the body. And also, I mean, just there's a lot of calisthenic stuff that's really cool too. It's all about what works for you, about what helps your body, and what feels good for you. And sometimes what feels good for us for like a few years doesn't feel good to us forever. So we can't just get attached to all this other stuff. Jason Ibarra says, I'm in Texas, just went through Hurricane Harvey, hit the coast hard, lived off sardines in a can for 2 weeks, had worked out during storm, lost 5 pounds. There you go, dude. Sardines in a can, those are what's up. Hurricane Harvey hit hard, man. Yeah, my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone out there. And I'm just the death toll ain't so bad though, right? Hit everywhere hard, but my parents they're in Florida, and my dad was in Miami. He said it wasn't as bad as everyone said it was, but I don't know. Do you guys have an ice cream recipe in your cookbook? No, there's not an ice cream recipe in that cookbook. There is not. But we've been talking about making like a real ice cream with real cream. We haven't done it yet. Just we need an ice cream maker. We're not going to buy an ice cream maker just to make a couple of ice cream batches. And if it became a thing, you might see me as oh, never mind. All right. What else is going on, guys? Scooby, Greg, Wes, what's up? P Trick, what's up, man? What else is going on here? I've recently found out or figured out that I have to be my number one cheerleader. Roel Perez says, I know you don't do protein powders, but what do you think of adding isolate protein to coffee? Like a very low-carb cappuccino. Tastes really good. Okay, it tastes really good if you like it. If it fits into what you're doing, I think that's totally fine. You can do that. I give you permission. I grant you permission to put protein powder in your coffee. How's that? I hope you hear the hint of irony in my voice, right? You don't have to ask some gurus on anywhere for permission to do that. Nothing wrong with protein powder in general. I think that whole foods are better, of course, but you're good. John Titor, I'm down 73 pounds in 9 weeks. No, that can't be real, right? 9 weeks? What? 73 pounds in 9 weeks is incredible. I mean, where were you? Like, were you over 500 before? John Titor, I mean, it sounds like, look, if you've got 73 pounds plus to lose, what you say you've been doing, you're probably fine. I mean, but why are you doing? All right. As far as calories go, stuff like that, you got a lot of body fat to lose. Of course, we can sustain long-term deficits for a long time. If you look at the study on the guy who did the 383-day fast, his health was amazing. He didn't have any loose skin at the end of it. Of course, this is N equals 1 experiment. Very valid, though. Just keep going, man. You're good. But you say you walk 10 to 20 miles a day and hit the gym 3 to 6 times a day or a week. That's probably, I mean, that's excessive. Are you training to run from your life from a pack of wolves? And what are you training for? I think that's excessive. You could burn out. What are signs to look for? Poor sleep, poor recovery. If you start feeling those and you back off a little bit, get better. Not get better, but get recovered. Rest. All right, what's going on, guys? Wes. P Trick. Let's see. All right. Z Witchshire Elf says the industry forces sugar on us. I feel like we've been lied to on so much stuff. It's not funny anymore. Lots of stuff seems reversed. Well, yeah, that's the human condition, right? It's like we live in a world of duality. There's a lot of illusion. I mean, you look at any spiritual tradition around the world, it's about, getting through illusion, getting past illusions, getting through the realms of illusion, the realms of lies. The industry doesn't force sugar on us. The industry. I mean, what is the industry? The industry responds to consumer demand, but also industry can force consumer demand through propaganda. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. And the deeper you probe these realities, the deeper you probe life and the nature of consciousness, reality, good and evil, the more fascinating life becomes, right? I think it's an oversimplification to say industry forces sugar on us, though. Hey, like they don't force sugar on me, right? Like I've become hip to it. I've become wise to it. I'm not buying the nonsense, right? But what other lies have we been fed? What other lies have we believed? Just because so-called experts have told us they've got it covered, right? We got it covered over here. We've got badges with 3 letters on it. We got certs. We're legit. Don't worry. We know all that stuff. You just assume that what we say is true is true. You know, I mean, what else? Where else do we give up our power of discernment? Where else do we give up our power of reason and of logic for the so-called experts of industry, technology, government? How often do we give up our rational thinking and just believe what they say? Blah, 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 blah. A study shows that if we come on television and say, a study shows, then 90% of people will believe whatever the hell we say after this. Right? Rogue Swisher. Rogue Swisher. Swisha Sweets. Rogue Swisher, what's up, Tristan? First time here. What do you think of keto's effect on basketball or MMA athletes? All right, man. Basketball, MMA athletes on keto. You got to get adapted when you're not in competition season. All right. So if you're going to do a ketogenic diet and you want to do a low carb diet, I think it'd be fantastic for MMA athletes, especially because you're dealing with traumatic brain injury consistently a lot. And you want to be able to burn fat efficiently and tap into glucose, but only when necessary, tap into glucose. So training in a low carbohydrate state and competing in a higher carbohydrate state is a great strategy. So getting adapted to keto during the off season, doing a more strict ketogenic diet, going through that adaptation phase, expecting, 4, 8, 12 weeks of a little bit decreased performance while you're training in that low carbohydrate mode. But then when you come out of the eye of the storm, when you come out the other side, you're going to feel way better and you're going to be recovering really effectively. And you're going to have built the mitochondrial machinery to actually use ketones and burn fat effectively more of the time. So I think it's a great idea, but don't try and get adapted if you're, if you're about to go into your first semester and you're a college athlete or something and like your career depends on it. Obviously not a good idea. Do it when you don't have pressure, when you have low stress, when you don't have a high training load, and reap the benefits of it, but use more carbohydrates around those explosive training sessions, starting out with about 30 grams extra carb around training after you've become adapted after about say 8 to 12 week hard keto, not hard, but more strict keto, more full-on keto, then using some more carbohydrates in a targeted fashion around workouts would be a great idea for basketball and MMA style athletes. Catherine Reese says, I don't know how some of y'all are doing 1,500 calories a day. I did 1,600 calories last week and ended up binging and sleeping way too much because I felt like garbage. So that's the thing. Count calories, right? Restrict calories and exercise more. Eat less and move more. It's really useless to say that to somebody because if you just eat less, you just restrict your calories without a real good strategy, then you're just going to be forcing your will upon a difficult situation and the body will revolt and you're not going to be recovering well and you're going to feel stressed. You're going to hate the diet and think, hey, keto sucks. I did it for like a week and it sucked. But actually, when you want to do keto and you want to restrict your calories or whatever, which of course to lose body fat, we do have to eat less, but keto is a way that leverages your body's biological responses to macronutrient intake it's a way to decrease hunger and to make it so we naturally eat less for long, long periods of time. And that's why keto's cool. That's why keto works. I'm all bouncy, guys, because my back's messed up today. I got a massage it's almost a week ago now. Shoot. Last Friday or Thursday, I got a massage, and it was intense. I had some things opened up in my lower back, my coccyx, and my glutes. I had some stuff moved and opened up that maybe would have been suited to be slowly opened up. And I've been walking funny for like a week now. So I might look funny today. A little bit sore. All right. So yeah, Catherine, keto is a way to leverage macronutrients so that we're less hungry. But in the beginning of keto, if you're trying to lose body fat, it's better to actually get adapted to the diet first at around maintenance calories, meaning don't try and hit a huge deficit. Eat some more fats in the beginning. So there's a case right there. We talked about earlier. I have to contradict myself and be shown the error of my ways within the same hour. I said earlier, the answer is almost never like just eat a bunch more fat. But in this case, yeah, eat some more, get adapted. Then when your body's less stressed out, if you're sleeping well, if all the other ducks are lined up in a row, then it might be time to actually dial back the fats and burn more body fat. Mutant Stoner, what's up, dude? Jim West, hello. John says, I've been training to be the best me I can be. I have an extended break from work and taking advantage. Yep, 73 pounds in 9 weeks is real, and your videos are a big part of that. So cheers. John Titor, right on, dude. Hey, keep it up, man. Like I said, though, hey, training so hard, just be careful. We're human. We tend to gravitate towards extremes, right? So, you know, somebody who's been on the extreme end of weight gain can sometimes swing to the extreme end of rah, 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 beat the crap out of the body. Let's just take a step back, maybe take a day or two to chill out a little bit and assess how fast you really can, how hard you really can push your body as your structure is changing. I mean, I'm just as somebody who, you know, just a couple weeks ago, I was running a little bit much in the mountains, a lot of trail running, unstable surfaces, and I got pretty sore. And then I got an intense massage, and my body was a little bit messed up for about a week from that, from pushing too hard, from slamming it too much. And my fascia system, the way that my posture works, the way that my body holds itself is constantly changing. And so, yeah, man, just go easy on it with the running and stuff. It's just constantly pounding on the body and trying to make it recover can be a bit harsh. Keyline Kisses says, our government is thinning the herd with sugar. Well, thinning, yes, I mean, it's a slow kill, right? I guess you can make that statement, but I mean, there's more overt things that governments and corporate interests are doing that are thinning the herd. The great culling, you know, there's more blatant things that are being done than just the what's it called, the sugar. Slow kill, I guess. One could say that. Catherine, what's up? Ambrosius says, I went to the doctor after 2 weeks of keto today, and he completely shot low carb, high fat down. Pretty upset, but obviously not going to listen to him still. Your doctor knows everything, man. You have to listen to him. Just ask him. He went to school. He spent how many hundreds of thousands of dollars of his parents' money to get that degree, and then to just look up in the Merck manual what drugs to give people. All right. Pete Trick says strong. John Teeter was 280, trying to get to about 150. So, man, you've lost. So you went from 280 to 205. That's so cool. Congratulations, John. Just keep it up, man. Frederick says, my goal in fitness is to do a muscle up. Want to be able to climb stuff just in case of a zombie apocalypse. Right on, man. Let's see. Jim West says, my doctor still tells me eggs are bad due to cholesterol, even though all that was debunked ages ago. Yeah, so why are we still pretending these people are authorities? That's the sad thing, right? It's like, okay, we can make these jokes like, oh yeah, I went to my doctor, he said my diet sucks, that I should eat sugar and wheat and this and that. And it's like, why are we still taking these people as authorities or pretending that they have some sort of a legitimate claim to any intellectual high ground? I mean, that's what I think is funny. It's like somebody tells me they're a doctor or something. I mean, I'm a weirdo though. I'm not general population, right? But shoot, someone tells me that they're a doctor, and I'm just like, I don't think, ooh, the person must be so smart. I think, oh man, I went to school with people like you. Shoot, you know, it's like these doctors. How many years of school does it take to get into the amount of debt required to be a doctor? And then when you finally get into practice, what are you doing? You're just looking up drugs in the Merck manual. It's crazy. It's like this whole ritualistic creation of this position of supposed power and grandeur, and they're just locked in these little rooms just filling out forms for pharmaceutical companies all day long, getting huge kickbacks for things like vaccinating as many of their clientele as they can, giving statins to suppress cholesterol in people, antidepressants for someone who, you know, stubbed their toe or has a slight inkling that maybe they're not happy with the shitty life that they've chosen to lead that's full of behaviors that make them feel shitty consistently. Oh, well, just take a drug. You have too little serotonin. Give you the SSRI, right? That then increase violent behavior and more aberration in society. I mean, this is, it's like we need to stop pretending that what we see is not real. Stop pretending that what is right before us is not so obvious. It's like we've exalted some of the most boxed in, intellectually castrated people. They're just indoctrinated into this position. And it's not like as a general, as a societal, I don't know. As a society, we need to reassess our deification of the doctors. The doctors. I mean, ask any doctor if they think that, what they think about most doctors. Ask another doctor what they think about most doctors. They'll get different answers, but it's interesting the different answers you get. All right. John Smith says, my dad is getting older and is concerned about brain health, specifically memory loss. Does keto actually help with the brain? If so, what foods would be optimal for this? All right. The ketogenic diet is probably one of the best adjunct therapies out there that one can find for staving off possible neurodegenerative diseases. 1 second. I'm going to pour some water. All right. Keto as a possible treatment for Alzheimer's, ALS, for neurodegenerative diseases. Keto can be super powerful. It was actually first discovered as a treatment for refractory epilepsy in kids, little kids that would get seizures that were so bad that no drugs could help them control it. It's been known for hundreds of years, thousands of years, in fact, that fasting will stop seizures. So used to use fasting and is a spiritual practice, right? For things like, in the past, when somebody was epileptic, they would have a much different prognosis in these different societies. They'd say that they were afflicted by bad spirits and that they needed to fast to get rid of them. They would fast and they would stop getting these seizures. Different way of looking at it, but the treatment was the same: get people into ketosis. So in the early 20th century, or is that considered the 19th? I don't know. In the 1920s and 30s, I think, the ketogenic diet was developed as a treatment for epilepsy in kids because you can't just have children fast long periods of time. Higher fat allows them to fast without losing so much weight, without getting the developmental disorders associated with, you know, extreme calorie deprivation in children. Malnutrition. So that's how ketogenic diet was developed and named. They called these things that were present in the blood when they had inhibition of their not tumors, but their seizures. They called these things ketones. And that's where keto came from. So ketones actually have a very neuroprotective effect on the brain. They help to balance out the brain, and they allow the mitochondria to use fat and ketones for fuel rather than having to use glucose. So Alzheimer's has, a lot of people now call it insulin resistance of the brain. You know, they're calling it type 3 diabetes in some circles. Mostly these are like low carb advocates who, you know, have the low carb agenda. Just what they're pushing. Not that that's bad, but I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with the language there, because if you start to dig deeper, it's like, well, why is the brain insulin resistant? And it's not always just because of dietary issues. It can be environmental issues as well. You know, the non-native EMF, blue light exposure can actually increase insulin resistance in the brain. Exposure to radio frequencies, cell phones all the way up into your brain can actually drive more glucose intake into the cells and rapid metabolism in there, and actually help create these aberrations. I mean, that's why cell phones, radio frequency, they've been associated with cancers for so long. Wi-Fi as well. This is well known. It's also well known in the tech industry as well. It's kind of the elephant in the room right now, this whole 5G system being brought out. Muy, muy malo. There's other things other than dietary glucose that can cause insulin resistance and insulin resistance in the brain, which is what some people are calling Alzheimer's now. But yeah, increased GABA production is one of the side effects of ketosis. GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter that actually soothes and calms the brain. So your dad's dealing with brain health issues, memory loss, stuff like that. Get him on keto, reduce the glucose load, stabilize blood sugar, keep insulin low. I guarantee you he's going to start feeling and behaving much better. Jim West says, yeah, it still goes on. Same as everyone pushing the low-fat, high-carb stuff from the 70s. Slowly seeing that theory going in the mainstream now. I guess he's talking about the rise in people just being cognizant of the baloney we've been told through government and industry. At the behest of industry tycoons who are making huge profits on the sickness and disease that has been created by this. It's sickening. It's disgusting, really. I don't want to rant and rave about it all, but when you really look at it, it's unfortunate. But ultimately, it's not industry that's doing this to us. We have to make the decision to put the crap in our body. Now we've been educated. Now we've been empowered through information, through communication. We've become wise to this. We know what's going on. We don't want to put poison in our body. We don't want to poison our vessels here. So focusing on getting in high-quality, nutrient-dense, organic foods, getting foods from your local environment, eating locally produced healthy foods, not the slave feed from Monsanto and Bayer, not supporting these businesses that are poisoning the topsoil. They're using glyphosate extensively and destroying the genetic heritage of our crops by consolidating them all into the hands of one corporate entity, Bayer Monsanto. There are thousands of strains of corn developed through the Americas over millennia that are being destroyed and wiped clean in the name of greed. It's more than just greed, too. All right. Rise MC says SSRIs have greatly improved my life. I know they do get handed out too easily. There you go. There's always the exception, right? SSRIs greatly improved my life. You allowed it to. They've shown that SSRIs are less effective than placebos. They're less effective than placebos. So I wonder what those SSRIs would have done if they were placebos. Of course, I'm not a doctor or a medical member of the medical priesthood, so I don't give medical advice. But I've known people who've taken SSRIs temporarily and not had terrible side effects. But I've also known people who've taken them at horrible side effects. So I don't know. You judge a tree by its fruit. And if it's fruiting in your life, that's good, man. Enjoy your life. That's what it's all about. Morningstar says, I have your cookbook. I was wanting to know about purchasing a green powder due to the fact I'm having trouble finding any greens in my areas. Right on. Just go for kale, spinach, stuff like that. The simple stuff that you can find. And then you can add more. Parsley is a good one. Mutant Stoner. Great question. I think people long for an all-knowing someone to tell them what to do with perfect results in all aspects of life. I feel like that's a subconscious desire that everyone has. We're all looking for that deity to help us out. Exactly. We are. Why do you think there's been so many religions all about manipulating that desire, right? Because we all have that. We've got that emptiness. We have that. We've got that God-shaped hole inside of us. And there's entire systems that are all about just creating things to temporarily fill that gap and give you kind of that little bit of a sweet taste, but there's always a hook. It's like cocaine, drugs, right? You feel great for 10 minutes and you're just awful. We all have that desire. We all have the desire for truth. We all have the desire for deeper connection to life, deeper connection to this experience here. And we experience it sometimes in these little fleeting moments. There's like little rapturous fleeting moments where we look into someone's eyes and we just see it all reflected back at us. Or It can be just so subtle. But yeah, and then we feel that those moments of power, of connection. The dopamine starts firing when the information flows in. It's like we feel that we want it to continue, we want it to last, and we're always looking for ways to keep it going, to keep the revelation flowing. And unfortunately, we end up looking for other people to do that for us, right? Mommy and daddy. The mother's the first one, right? So we're attached to the mother, constant. And then we're slowly weaned from her breast, and then we have to deal with the world, the disconnection from that mother, the disconnection from the womb, the all-encompassing place where everything's provided for us, where you don't even have to walk, you're just floating. You don't even have to breathe. Just the nutrients are just flowing in. And then we come out, we feel cold, we feel hot. There's connection, then there's disconnection. Right? I mean, even just in this incarnation here, we came from a place of wholeness, a place of all-encompassing warmth, the womb. And then the duality slowly starts peeking through there. Little rays of light shine through the darkness and divide the planes of existence. And it's just, it's incredible. But it's, yeah, I mean, it's sad. Like most of us, we chase shadows, we chase phantoms, and we build glass houses to try and keep certain feelings going. And we deify those feelings or those people that have all the answers, or, it's part of the human condition. And, but also part of our heritage is being able to see that, to see through it, to see the error of our ways, right? To see that we've been bowing before idols, and, to realize, okay, yeah, that tree's real cool, but that tree's not a god. Or that person is pretty awesome, and it's got a lot of really good things to teach me. But that doesn't mean that I have to accept the poisons that come with those teachings. Doesn't mean that everything that person does is infallible. That person's human like I. Walter says, thanks for answering my question. I was at work and wanted to get the question in while you were still live. Definitely will look into kettlebell movements. Cool, man. Right on. James Cho says, what's the minimum amount of fat we can eat in a day? Side effects. I read 0.3 grams per total weight in kilograms. 0.3 grams per kilogram. So minimum, I mean, look, you don't have to, you can not eat any fat for a whole week and fast and be fine. Or some people can do a long period of time of eating too little fat and, be metabolically a little bit deranged. There's no magic number. I mean, I usually tell, like most females, I don't like to go below 70 grams of fat per day long term. Most males, about the same, but it depends on your energy levels. It depends on what you're doing. It depends on what your life's all about and how much energy you put out throughout the day. David Looney says, does marijuana affect ketosis? All right. Does marijuana affect ketosis? I don't like the term marijuana, but also, I don't know. So for marijuana, it's a propaganda term that was developed during the 20s and 30s when hemp prohibition came about. And it seems like this was done, obviously wasn't done to protect the general public from this evil demonic plan that's going to kill everybody, right? I mean, it's just like alcohol prohibition. Of course, there's the excuses that are made on the surface, and then there's the real reason, which has to do with money, control, and power. So when you look at like the DuPont family, what was the guy's name? The newspaper baron. Anyways, the history of prohibition of hemp and cannabis is just incredible. It's right before our eyes. Absurd. Criminal. Does it affect ketosis? All right. So when you look at like the medical studies that have been done on cannabinoids, CBD, THC, stuff like that, they tend to force the mitochondria to use fat. They drop blood glucose significantly. So I mean, as far as like cannabis affecting ketosis, one would expect it to deepen ketosis because it helps stabilize and drop blood glucose numbers. That's why people get the munchies. They smoke and then the blood glucose drops and then they want to eat to regulate their munchies. So, I mean, cannabis affecting ketosis shouldn't really negatively affect ketosis, I guess maybe someone could make the argument that it would positively affect it by balancing blood sugar and perhaps pushing ketones up. But yeah, I mean, if you're a cannabis user out there, you could try measuring your blood glucose before and after use, measuring your blood ketones before and after use. Because after cannabis use, you'll find your blood glucose goes lower. Ketones, not sure. You'll have to check it out for yourself in your own situation. Minimum fat grams for keto, 0. Minimum fat grams for keto could be 0. In fact, that's the way that most people get into ketosis most of the time. It's just through fasting. Mutant Stoner says, does ketosis get THC out of your system faster? When you're drug tested for work or something? Jim West says, started putting spirulina powder in some things and seems to be good stuff we don't get from other sources. Dude, Jim, I love spirulina. We've been on the spirulina trip for years. Spirulina is fantastic. Yeah, spirulina is super, super good. I actually like to mix spirulina with ground beef. Sounds crazy, but it gives it this nice, smooth flavor. And yeah, spirulina's got a lot of B vitamins you're not going to find anywhere else. And yeah. Habby says, is peanut butter good on keto? I have about 3 tablespoons a day. Peanut butter is not bad for keto necessarily. It's not the most beneficial food, right? Because it's going to be a little bit higher in the polyunsaturated fatty acid, omega-6s. So it's not always the best food to eat, but you're fine with it. If you enjoy 3 tablespoons of peanut butter, it fits into your daily macros, then just go for it. No one can tell you if peanut butter is good or bad for you. You got to just experience that for yourself. So go without it for 4 weeks. Then eat 3 tablespoons a day. See if you feel any different. All right. Rise MC says, today is my first day of fasting. I'm really looking forward to this new lifestyle choice. Right on, man. Fasting, I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by fasting, but fasting can be a really, really incredible tool for taking control of our mind, of our emotions, and of our reaction to our environment. So use it, probe it, ask yourself the right questions. Don't use it as a distraction. Don't just sit and stare in the mirror and say, is my belly getting smaller? Don't focus on that. That's the low-hanging fruit. The real fruit's behind that. The real important part is behind that, behind the whys, right? Reality lies several whys behind our eyes. Azorb says, I avoid peanut butter, stay away from lectins. Yeah, see if somebody who's lectin sensitive, who's got lectin sensitivity, who's got a really sensitive gut, might want to avoid peanut butter. But I'll be the first one to tell you that just because some people are sensitive to it doesn't mean all people need to avoid it. So if you're sensitive to lectins, avoid the lectins. Volta Speeder, what's up, man? Deborah Fiore, what's up? Says, how are you and your family doing? How's the new cookbook coming along? The new cookbook, which is the ultimate guide to low-carb baking, is pretty much done. We just need to proof it and start. We gotta do some editing. Well, thanks for asking. Do you like Wild Planet sardines better than Matisse? Oh, Freddie C. I like them both so much. Wild Planet are cheaper. They're more affordable. Matisse are more smooth. Matisse tastes more gourmet. Wild Planet tastes great on their own, especially like the lemon ones. Matisse, pretty good on their own, not as much salt. I mean, it all depends on what you're doing in the moment. You know, there's moments when I'll reach for the Matisse sardines. There's moments when I'll reach for the Wild Planet. Lately, I've just been on the Wild Planet. I've been really liking the Wild Planet ones. All right. What else is going on here? What else is going on? We got so many people watching. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. I'm getting a little bit antsy here, and I think I'm gonna bounce out of here, guys. Will Warburton, what's up, man? Still using keto in your content, never been healthier. Hope life is great for you. You still feeling good from your trip to Ecuador, Will? How was everything, man? Um, yeah, I'm curious on like how you're sleeping and stuff too, right? Will is a former client of mine. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, he's a professional poker player. High stress, high stakes. But he came down to Ecuador. He visited a friend of mine in the jungle. How was that, Will? I know we emailed a little bit about it. How you feeling now? Ronald says, what are the maximum days of fasting? It just depends on the situation. Look, some people go too hard. Some people stress themselves out with it and it creates a problem. We just got to learn how our body reacts to these things. We just got to listen to our physiology. And if we're pushing it too hard, if we're getting poor sleep, if we're stressing ourselves out too much with it, then we want to back off a bit. Walter Sobchak. Walter says, what do you think of... Okay, Walter says, I wish you had maca. He's trying to figure out where to get maca. We don't have any maca on our site right now, but if you want actual good maca, there's only one place that I would say you should go. The one that you mentioned, I'm pretty sure they're a decent company, but I don't know them personally. But I think they probably have good stuff. But who I know has good stuff, where you can get it from, go to therawfoodworld.com. If you want maca, get it there. He's a friend of mine, and I know he gets the good materials. All right. I'm going to start wrapping it up, guys. Mutant Stoner, Rise MC, Clary Dent, James Cho, Yurtha Van Dyke, what's up? Walter, David Looney, Gina Jones, everybody who's joined, thank you so much for hanging out. Volta Speeder's got one more question. Should I count hydrolyzed collagen powder and glutamine in total daily protein? Glutamine, all right, so these are not complete proteins. They're not complete proteins. Hydrolyzed collagen is just, what is it, glycine, proline. There's like 3 amino acids. It's not a complete protein. I don't count collagen as a complete protein. Glutamine, I wouldn't count it either. That's just me. It's just me. It still is food, right? You eat a whole bunch of collagen. It's more food that you're eating. You have to digest it, stuff like that. So I'm not saying free reign, eat as much as you want, but like a dose of collagen, hydrolyzed, a collagen hydrolysate, not a complete protein, and I don't count it towards my total protein of the day. Hey, bro, should I eat liver? They serve at the IHOP. I don't know, man. That's a good question. I don't have an answer to that. Would I eat the liver they served at IHOP? I just wouldn't go to the IHOP. I don't know. I'd find some other spot. There's another spot nearby. I'd go to like just a little mom and pop diner, you know. What do they have in Santa Cruz? Santa Cruz Diner. Used to go there. James Cho, thanks for these sessions, Tristan. Go enjoy your family and stay blessed. Thanks, man. Volta Speeder says, I agree, but it does contribute something to the amino acid pool, right? Yeah, but how do you calculate all that? It's like we can get as complicated and we can overthink these things. Sure, like if you want to go technical like that, yeah, it's going to add to the amino acid pool. So then we got to count how much of the other amino acids we have, you know, how much isoleucine, how much valine is in this, how much. We can't do all that. I mean, it's, go as ham as you want with it. But for me, I keep it simple. It's like I'm not eating enough collagen to make a difference anyways. Water. All right, guys. I'm getting out of here. For those of you who are interested in more, check out primaledgehealth.com. I try to send out a little notification when I do these live hangout events. I try to send out a notification beforehand. And if you go to the website, primaledgehealth.com, you can actually sign up for our email newsletter. I think it's at the top or the bottom or the sidebar. Somewhere there, you can sign up for a newsletter. We'll send you a notification before we do these live events so you can ask questions, leave comments, or talk amongst yourselves during the event. So thanks to everyone for hanging out. We got to talk about all kinds of cool stuff. What's today? Today's Wednesday, the middle of the week. Hump day. All right, everyone. I'm going to bounce out. You can find more at primaledgehealth.com if you're interested in the cookbook we talked about earlier. My wife's cookbook, the lovely Jessica, spent over 1.5 years making it. The Ketogenic Edge Cookbook. A training manual for low carbohydrate, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine is available exclusively at primaledgehealth.com. It's not on Amazon for so many reasons. And I suggest if you've got your own content that you're selling out there, ask yourself, why do I need to sell this on Amazon? There are better options out there, guys. So check out primaledgehealth.com. Check out the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, a training manual for low carbohydrate, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. Go enjoy your life. Get out of here.